Parshas Beshalach is a very packed parsha. We have the leaving of Mitzrayim and the coming to the Yam Suf. Paro chases after us, and we go in. There's the miracle of Kriyas Yam Suf, and then the story of the Mun and the lessons in Bitachon that it taught us. And we have stories of, I believe, 3 of the times when the Bnei Israel complained to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and how we approach those parshas. We have the story of the war with Amalek. We have the introduction of the topic of Shabbos. A lot of areas going on in this week's parsha. I've spoken about some of them in the past. Notice the medrash that caught my eye. So there's a medrash that talks about HaKadosh Baruch Hu, how he pampered us on the way, so to speak, in the way out of Mitzrayim. So the first pasuk in the parsha says, "Vahi Beshalach Paro avo nochem elkim derech eretz plishtim ki karovu." That Hashem didn't Hashem didn't take us in the way of the Plishtim. But the Medrash reads the pasuk differently. Hashem didn't guide us in the normal way of the world. Says the Medrash Rabbah in Chaf Yud Aleph that the normal way of the world is when you buy servants, you buy them on the purpose that they should wash you, they should anoint you, they should clothe you, they should bear your burdens, they should illuminate the way in front of you. That, when people needed that, somebody was going to illuminate the path in front of them. That wasn't Hashem's plan with the Jewish people. Hashem takes us as Avadim, and he's not Nacham Kedarach Kol Ha'aretz. Rather, he washed us, he anointed us, he clothed us, he bore us, and he did all these things for us on the way out of Mitzrayim. And that's what the pasuk means, that Hashem didn't take us in the normal way of the world. The Medrash is really bringing out the point of how HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he took us as servants, he took us out of Mitzrayim to take us as servants, but our job is not to take care of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Hashem takes care of us. Hashem, on Sukkot we celebrate this idea of Hashem putting us in the Zanani HaKavod, which protected us in all directions, and Hashem, they would smooth the way, they would kill the snakes and scorpions. At night, there was a pillar of fire. Hashem, it doesn't seem like they needed to shower, change their clothes, or do any of these things. Hashem provided them with food and drink. Hashem took total care of them on their way out of Mitzrayim. That was their beginning of entering into the abduct with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What seemed to me, what's the Medrash trying to teach us? It seems the Medrash is trying to teach us that HaKadosh Baruch Hu had a whole different perspective on why he took us as Avadim. Normally, a king takes servants, people hire workers because they want them for their own purposes. I want people to do things for me. HaKadosh Baruch Hu has no such agendas. Hashem's agenda of taking us as Avadim is for our benefit. Hashem says, I'll take care of you, and you're going to do what I command you to do. You're going to serve me in the best possible way. And it's really for our benefit. And in fact, there's a lot of hisorus, there's a lot of things we're supposed to take from this lesson. The Gemara in Avodah Zarah Yud Aleph Amud Aleph talks about the story of Onkeles Hager, was actually the nephew of Titus, so he was a high-profile person, and the Roman, whoever it was, the Roman duke maybe or whatever, nobleman was very upset that he became a ger, and he sent the legion of soldiers to go grab him. So it says that this legion of soldiers came, and he started discussing Torah with them, and he was mashchinu b'kroi. He drew them in by discussing Torah, and he was magayer them. He won them all over to his side. So the king sent another legion. He said to another group of soldiers, he says, don't talk to him. Don't let him trick you. Just grab him and go. So he says to them, can I just tell you something? When you have he says, a baron, when people travel, a baron holds the lantern for the duke. The duke holds the lantern for the prince. The prince holds the lantern for the king. Is there such a thing? You're going to have a group of people traveling with the king, and the king is going to be the one who's holding the lamp to illuminate, who's the one holding the flashlight? Everybody serves the king. That's how it works. They said, of course not. So he says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu took the torch before the Jewish people. Hashem illuminated and the path for the Jewish people, and he was megayer them all. And this argument won them over. Then the king sent a third group, and the king says, don't say a word to him. This time Onkeles, he touches the mezuzah on the way out. He said, what are you doing? He says, in the way of the world, you have a king. He sits on the inside, and he has soldiers on the outside guarding his house. No? HaKadosh Baruch Hu is on the inside. HaKadosh Baruch Hu puts us inside the house, and Hashem is on the outside guarding the house. That's what's represented by the mezuzah. It says, Hashem yishmor tzeis chavoecha me'atavi adolam. He was megayer them too, and then the nobleman gave up. He stopped sending soldiers to grab him. So it seems Onkeles was able to connect deeply with this idea, and not only that, he was able to win over the soldiers with this idea of how HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the one who lit the way for his subjects. How HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the one on the outside protecting his subjects. It appears that there's this idea that we're able to connect to here of how we're being so taken care of by HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and that's the role of us being servants. I was thinking about this idea. At the end of the day, no one's going to say that an Eved Hashem doesn't work hard. A person gets up in the morning and he says Moda'ani, and he washes Nagelwasser, and he gets dressed by putting on his right side first so he can serve Hashem that way. He goes to daven. The whole day of a Yid is consumed with Avodas Hashem. It's a big job following the ways of the Torah. So it's interesting to me, this framework that it's presenting, that it's all HaKadosh Baruch Hu pampering us. Of course we work hard. But I think the pshat is that that's all for our benefit. The Ramban I believe it's by the mitzvah of Shua Chaken, he talks about why do we have mitzvahs? They're not for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We're not servants because Hashem needs servants. We're servants because it's good for us, because Hashem gave us mitzvahs that are going to help us achieve perfection. They're going to help us become godly. They're to help us develop greatness and holiness and connection to Him. That's why we have mitzvahs. That's why we're avodim to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When a person really takes that framework, everything they do could be something of simcha. And there are people that live their whole life and they get up and they're besimcha, and everything they do has Hashem in it. The more mindful they can be about having Hashem in their lives, the more godliness and purpose it brings to every moment of their day. A person could be driving to work and they're doing it l'shem Hashem, and they're thinking about Hashem and thinking about how they can be serving Hashem in that way, and it brings meaning and purpose to everything. And in that sense, an Eved Hashem is totally different from an Eved of a person. Maybe that's what Onkeles was teaching them, that the life of an Eved Hashem is someone Hashem provides everything for. Hashem just wants that you should have a good life, that you should have a meaningful life, and it's totally different from anyone else you could ever serve. And maybe that was the message that he was trying to give them and make an impression. And maybe that's the message that we can take from how HaKadosh Baruch Hu took care of us in the desert. When we take this lesson to heart, may we be able to see the Hashgacha Pratis in our life, of how HaKadosh Baruch Hu does pamper us and does take care of us. And may Hashem connect us and deepen our relationship with Hashem. Have a wonderful Shabbos.